Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series America Challenger. That's right. We just finished our first series with two North American players going at it. Massa taking a 3-0 over Bales. Pretty convincingly. Bales put up a good fight, though.
Yeah, it was exciting. Bales, he was solid all around. You can't say that. Massa just happened to be on top of his game today.
Yeah, really, really well played by the Canadian Terran player. We have two more best of fives to bring you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, our next match will be a Terran versus Zerg. We have the American Terran, Semper, most famously known for a 45-minute game against Rotterdam in which they traded bases after a proxy Tempest in the Season 1 qualifiers, going up against Jaedong, who didn't quite have the run of his dreams in the last season, would have liked to make it to the finals, but Polt is a pretty good Terran, and, well, Hydra ended up besting him in the ZvZ in the top 8.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, TVZ, I think, is just the penultimate, game in StarCraft 2. The definite matchup that I like to see. It's very exciting, very thrilling, depending on how it goes. And I'm really excited to see what Jaedong is going to be able to do. I really hope that his opponent's able to keep up, though. I don't want to see another 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be tough. It's going to be really tough for Semper. Semper's like that. You know, it's like how I like to imagine, like, if I somehow managed to qualify for WCS, I'm like, yeah, I'm here, and, Semper's a bit better than me, but you still, like, it's as good as it is to get in and qualify for Challenger, the guys you have to play against are so good, and, no one wants to be like, oh, yeah, I made it to WCS, yay, and then I have to play versus Jaedong, because you're probably going to get wrecked. It's just reality. It's a very tough matchup ahead for Semper.
Yeah, now, one thing I will say is that Semper has been playing at the top of his game. He's doing really well for Semper, so I'm hoping that that's something that, maybe we'll see, And
I hope we just see some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
As well, because he's the underdog, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna overhype this. He is the underdog. He is not supposed to win this series by any means. It will be amazing if he does. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to see all the good things that Semper can do in this match because his opponent is very heavily favored over him. Jaedong, big focus for him. He's got to stay focused. Can't get too far ahead of himself. We do have an interesting set of map order. This actually had me a little bit excited. You want to go through the map list for us, Lycan?
So we have Coda again, very vanilla, very standard. I expect to see that in every match we see the next 2 days. Then it's going to be Terraform and Bridgehead. Bridgehead is going to be exciting. We see a lot of spine rushes, a lot of exciting things like that.
Bridgehead is where things get a bit crazy, and I'm excited that that's like, even if it was a 3-0, we're guaranteed to see Bridgehead in this series, no matter what, which is cool. And I'd even proffer that Terraform has a very interesting layout, the rocks in the center of the map, as well as that potential third base where the mineral is like exposed to the other side and all sorts of weird stuff. And, we have to ask ourselves like questions like, how exactly is Semper going to play against Jaedong? I personally haven't seen like any of his TVZs at all lately. I have no idea if he's going to go for some sort of mech. I think turtle mech. If I, as a Terran player, when I think about going up against a Zerg that's better than me, I think turtle mech is like a really strong way to play since it's so hard to break you if you don't make any, macro mistakes at the start. There's a very little micro involved in the beginning, so I feel like there are options. Still would be a pretty epic upset if you took a couple maps here. Yeah,
turtleneck would definitely be nice, especially with the swarm host change. That's really hard to break it, really hard to see, unsiege the siege tanks. And I'm curious. And then follow on after those 3 maps. If we make it past 3 maps, it is going to be Iron Fortress and Cactus Valley.
Yeah, and then things get a little bit more standard. The wide open maps. Jaedong, I would say, in my matches I played against him in the North American ladder and in qualifiers, he does tend to be a bit aggressive, especially against opponents that he's stronger than. He's going to try to use his superior control. He's going to try to use all the tools available to get a quick win if he can. He is not here to play around. Of course, we're loaded in to the first map of our second series. You're watching the World Championship Series America Challenger. In the bottom right position of Coda, we have the Red Zerg player representing Evil Geniuses. He's Jaedong.
And in the top left, he's not favored, but he is a blue Terran true Terran. Give it up for Semper.
And he represents Team Gravity. A lot of Gravity players on North American ladder. First other names that come to mind, I think Beast, another North American Terran, has been on Gravity. He's been on quite a few different NA teams. I'm not sure if he's still with them. I know Trace as well was another pretty solid NA Protoss player. So they're you know, there a lot of the good North American players play together in, you know, these clans of sorts. Not really, you know, team tier as far as I haven't seen too many of them making it out to big competitions, but these are the guys that are working together that want to be the NA pros of tomorrow.
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, you get to see Team Gravity here, you know, represented by Semper. I'm excited again with this new WCS format. We get to see these kind of players come up. We
That's
do
true.
get to see them compete, and especially, you know, here it is, Semper versus Jaedong. That's exciting. This is where this could be the story of today.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's all about, you know, the what can happen really. In StarCraft, it's crazy. It's not like Jaedong starts with extra workers just because he's Jaedong, right? It's as even as it gets at the start, and it all comes down to Semper needs to play the series of his life right here, right now. He's opened up with an 11 supply barracks with a quick gas to follow it up.
Double
so
Reapers.
we should be seeing, I think, a 3 Reaper opening is pretty standard out of 11 gas, and that should be what we get out of Semper here. And this is where he says, okay, with my Reaper control, with my micro ability, I'm going to try to get some sort of advantage. And if that advantage is either scouting information by being on top of your base, or drone kills, which I think if he got a drone kill against Jaedong, you know, that's something you can put down in your diary when you go to bed at night. It's like, I killed one of Jaedong's drones with Reapers. Like, even that could be a great feeling for Semper.
Yeah, and I think this is a great position for Semper to be going to this build. I mean, Jaedong went hatch first, then he went pool before gas, so we're not going to see the fastest speed possible, and it's going to be it's going to be crazy. I really hope he gets that drone kill.
It's a really important thing to note because every little bit that speed is delayed, and as you said, by going for pull before gas, it won't be that quickly. It allows these Reapers to be out on the map more. It allows them to have more potential, therefore, in order to actually get kills on either drones or Zerglings, and could even try to just build momentum by just poking away at the Queens and then attacking once the health regenerates, and I think that's a really strong way to play as well. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and as we can see, that fast Reaper gets in. He's going to try to get some work done, and we're seeing Jaedong have forced to pull these drones around. He does not want to lose any workers to a North American Terran Lycan.
Nope, not at all. I think this map is really good for the Reaper play, though. There are a lot of ways to get in and out of the main base, you know, the front wrap for the natural. We just see quite a few links coming out.
Yeah, and the thing is, in a position like this, you don't want to build more than 6 lings as the Zerg. Now that the Queens are coming out, Jaedong should feel very comfortable in terms of defending. He can just use those Queens to zone the Reapers out. If the Reapers run too far forward, then the lings can also just try to cut off any escape paths. And behind this, he moves into the factory. These are all things that are very standard. And for Semper, it's very important not to lose those Reapers. They give you that map presence. Speed is very far away for Jaedong. Semper can stay out on the map for quite some time.
Yeah, he does get speed, so he does get you know, that ability to chase down the Reapers and whatnot with the lings. But a good Hellion follow-up, which I believe we're going to see with the reactor coming down on the barracks, I believe that is going to be a great move for him. He's going for a fast third.
Yeah, quick 3 command center. This is about as standard as you can possibly play as a Terran player who opens up with an 11 supply barracks. And we're seeing still very constant Reaper aggression. That speed, it's only halfway done. Semper has an opportunity to continue being aggressive. And I don't know if he clicked on that extractor. Maybe now he's worried. Most of the time, a standard speed build lets you finish it at around 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And for Jaedong, it's going to be just barely after that point in time. But Semper's like, okay, I'm not going to take that risk. I'm going to pull back home in case I made a misread on when that speed finishes. And, you know, Reapers are home, speed is done, so he's totally fine. You know, didn't really kill much of anything, but against someone like Jaedong, you can't really be surprised.
Yeah, no, he had that Queen pretty close to 0 health. That was rooting for him. I was hoping, but that would have been a way better thing to write about than a drone kill. But yeah, we see Lair Tech coming up. So
just give him the silver medal. You tried.
Yeah, so 2-base Muta, are we going to see from Jaedong?
I think it's... I mean, with all the rest of the gases being taken, it would actually be, in my opinion, kind of weak against this. Like, he's getting a Spine Crawler or Baneling Nest, and maybe the fact that there looks like it could be a Banshee follow-up. But against 3 Command Center builds, I think that 2-base Muta is going to really deny a lot of the economy of Jaedong to himself. So this does open things up for Semper. I would love if Semper only got, like, 1 Banshee, no Cloak, and then just went straight into Stim and like Marines and double Engineering Bay, because I think if he went just 3 CC, double eBay against this build, he would actually be in a fantastic position. Like, Jaedong saw the starport in the tech lab, so maybe he would be a bit more greedy if he thought he could get away with it. But this is still, I'd say this is actually still a pretty solid position for both players.
Yeah, he does have more Hellions coming on soon. Those are going to join the rest of the group with the Reapers, and he kept those Reapers alive. That is really big. He has those 3 Reapers. That's a lot of more punch if he tries to do a push.
Yeah, and I love that he's starting to go back into extra barracks production, because now the Overseer is going to come in, and he will confirm that it's going to be bio. He sees no Cloak as well, and this means that Jaedong has to get damage done with the Mutalisks. He's actually in a pretty awkward spot, all things said and done. Jaedong needs to do damage with the Mutas because if we look at everything else, like, Stim is going to be on the way reasonably soon. It's not really, Stim isn't really that big of a deal when there's fast Mutas on the map because you can't really drop. So you're just going to be a little more defensive anyway. But that third base being late, that's a big deal. The evolution chambers are very, very late. And look at that. Manages to grab the drone that wanted to build the third. As long as he doesn't lose all his Hellions to these Lings, there's no opportunity for like any type of huge Baneling counterattack, which is what Jaedong may be trying to do. He may be considering going for a big Bane bust if he's able to catch all these Hellions.
Yeah, he does have that Spire that is almost done. It's about 90% of the way done, and then he's going to have the build time for the Mutalisk. So there's still a window of opportunity for Semper to make something happen. But on the back end, he does have 4 missile turrets about to finish.
Yeah, the turrets are done. He's got the E-Bays. Like, all Semper needs to do right now is start 1-1 and not miss a beat with building stuff. Just get the Marines going. Keep building supply depots. You know, don't get too tunnel vision on any one thing, and just be fine. I'd like to see him keep the Hellions and Reapers out on the map until the Mutalisks show up because it's just a good way to be aware. But all things said and done, this has actually been a pretty solid start for Semper. Jaedong is going to open with these Mutas. There will be missile turrets to meet him. Right now, it all comes down to how does Jaedong micro his Mutas and where does Semper position the few Marines that he'll have made at this point to defend against those Mutalisks.
Yep, Stim is halfway done. Upgrades +1/+1 for the Terran Bio are on the way. Mutalisks are finally out, but again, there's nothing really they can do, especially in that small number against the all the missile turrets.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really solid position for Semper. He's in a place where he has the opportunity to make he can actually make something in this game. It's going to be really, really difficult to actually do this. So
yeah, Semper's already transitioned into the Widow Mine production, so he's getting ready for that Terran mid TVZ late game where he's going to have the Widow Mines. He's going to be able to start braid pushing soon, and he kept a lot of that those Hellions alive, so he's going to have Hellbats to kind of soak some Widow Mine, or I'm sorry, soak some Baneling hits.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be really important is keeping Widow Mines properly positioned. I even like that the Viking helps zone away just a bit. And even then, like, this Banshee's going to come back in here and actually could win against this, you know, it's like Queen comes up. I think the Banshee can more than happily be like, yeah, 1v1 me, brah. He's going to pick that Queen off with absolutely no trouble whatsoever. Backup's going to show up, but just to be able to get that Queen and then, yeah, I mean, you're not honestly, as a Terran, you're not looking to do anything with this Banshee after the start of the game. Like, once Mutas are out, if you kill anything, you're happy. Even the health off that Queen isn't that terrible. Semper is taking his third base maybe a bit later than he would have wanted to. But based on the way this game started, that's okay because Jaedong got his third base so late.
Yeah, he put a lot of money into those Mutalisks, and he still has that ball. He does have Marines and a couple Vikings now, Widow Mines coming up, so he's not worried at all about those Mutalisks.
Is the second factor on the way? I'm actually really curious. Does Semper have an armory? I think an armory should take priority over the second factory. So that's an interesting choice. He will have very, very late 2-2 upgrades. Probably the first that's the first big mistake out of Semper in this series, and I actually think it's quite a big one. He needs to go do some damage. Like, even though 1-1 isn't done yet for Jaedong, like, that's one of those things that would allow him to have a lead all game long, but now he will lose that lead in the next 30 seconds when Jaedong's +1 upgrades are done.
Yeah, that's the Terran thing in TVZ. You get the upgrades faster, you can start shredding apart.
It also hurts because these Hellions can't transform into Hellbats to soak up more damage. Just now the armory begins, and it also means he can't get Drilling Claws now that second factory is complete, or Thor's.
Yeah, now he's going to push on the creep. He's going to try to clear as much of it as he can. He does have a nice split on his units. He has the Widow Mines out.
Yeah, I do like this. Like, it's 1-1. He has combat shields too. A lot of Terran players actually forget this upgrade in recent times, but Jaedong's going for some counter harass. He wants to do something with these Mutalisks, clean up the reinforcement lines instead of basically just say, why don't you push further on the creep? You should just push further on the creep because they've got Mutas here. And then, you know, Semper's like, oh, well, that sounds like a great idea. And then Banelings kill everything.
Yeah, that one Marine didn't manage to trade himself out for a Mutalisk, so that's definitely good. Training gas for Mutas. I'm sorry, Marines for gas. And we do see Mutas continuing to be added to the flock, and he is going for Mutalisk upgrades.
Yeah, I don't think Jaedong actually has a very healthy Baneling count. He's being pretty greedy. He's getting a ton of drones. He's continuing to pump out Mutas. And, you know, it's not like Mutas are bad or, you know, when I say Mutas are greedy, if the Terran player is held back in his base, then by all means, build Mutalisks all day because you're going to make the Terran player hate his life. But this is a scary moment right now, because if Semper pulls out, if Semper just decides to become a god right here in front of us and make some 6 splits, this is actually a manageable army for him. But these Mutalisks are what's looking to be the deal sealers with this counter harass, picking off missile turrets, picking off the Viking. And right now, Semper, he's in a tough spot because he has to defend while simultaneously trying to make a big push work. He's actually stemmed his whole army to run back and defend. And this is exactly what Jaedong wants. He's just saying, yep, put your whole army around. Don't let you attack me. I just get to sit on 80 drones happy as a, happy as a widow mine in a probe line.
Well, so I think that little bit of hesitation might cost him definitely, because he pulled back, he stemmed, took a little energy out the medevacs, and he wasn't there to get this army.
And this is what happens. He steps out onto the map. He's looking at all those forces inside of his base. He picks up the Marines, which is great, but now he's lost all the Hellbats. He's lost his Widow Mines. He can't plant them on the field, and the Marines are all dying one by one to these Banelings and Lings. And Jaedong's going to just use this opportunity to keep pushing back. He killed enough SCVs that Semper can't actually afford to build any forces.
Nope, and I think he's going to go for the mineral line. These Widow Mines are going to get the plant. Are they going to get a hit? He's going to sacrifice a Baneling and a few Lings. But yeah, those Widow Mines at the push, they weren't in a good position to really help him.
Yeah, really great abuse, I'd say, of the Terran player by Jaedong. Just took advantage of when that Terran army moved out, moved in with the Mutalisks, picked off the reinforcement lines, and then just got inside his main base. Like, if Semper has a couple Widow Mines expertly placed in the main or the natural to catch those Mutas off guard when they dive on those missile turrets, maybe he's able to exploit Jaedong's greediness with going for such a heavy Muta-based play. But now, I mean, Jaedong, he's pretty much got this in the bag.
Yeah, he lost 49 workers in that attack. He's now 24 workers to 82. Yeah, he's 66 supply to 89. But I really don't think a favorable engagement could help could help Semper.
Yeah, Jaedong just has so much money right now. Like, he's not the guy that's going to forget to get injects during all of this, too. He's got such a big army already on the map. He's basically maxed out. His +2 upgrades are going to be finishing in tandem with Semper's, but Semper could have had his +2 upgrades a while ago. We have to keep in mind that armory was so late that Semper lost the only advantage he had earlier on in this game, and now Jaedong's just going to swarm over him.
Yep, I don't think Widow Mines are good, but they're not that good, and this is going to be a great engagement for Jaedong.
Yeah, and look at that. There's more Marines here for Jaedong than there are for Semper. Look at all those changelings towards the right side.
Zerg force fields do really well played. A lot more SCVs going to go down. 2, 5, 6, 9, 13.
Yeah, there's no mining. There's more mining here. And GD is going to be called. Jaedong takes gainer one in this best of 5 here at WCS America Challenger and finds himself up 1-0. Not a super surprising, but, I mean, Semper played that game very solidly, I think, up until he made that big push. He forgot the armory, and then Jaedong just was able to find a really good spot with those Mutalisks. You know, Semper wasn't aware of where the Mutas were. And if the Mutas are out on your side of the map like that, it does open up things like being able to drop instead of just, fighting those Banelings head-to-head.
Yeah, I imagine that Semper, he knew the position he was in. He's facing Jaedong. I imagine that he was trying to take the best engagement that he could, and he hesitated a little too much.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. You're up against someone who is so much more heavily favored than you. His opening was good, though. I felt the 3 Reapers did what they needed to do. He didn't commit to Cloak, so the Mutalisk opening was kind of meh. He was ahead on upgrades. He was ahead on infrastructure, in my opinion, and tech. But Jaedong just, that's what the mark of being a great player is that you don't need to start the game ahead. You don't even need to start the game even. If you can outclass your opponent like that in terms of exploiting positioning, exploiting the standard timings of when you want to move your army out, then you're fine. You're happy. Jaedong doesn't need to do much else. He doesn't need, I guess I should say, he doesn't need any big, detonations in order to catch that game. He just had enough stuff. He didn't make any mistakes. And, Semper had a supply block here, a supply block there. And forgetting the armory, the only big advantage in terms of upgrades, he lost very early on.
Yep, so the signs of a good player are not making those mistakes, but an even better player, I think, is someone who sees those mistakes and doesn't make them again. And moving to the next game, we'll see, how Semper approaches it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be focused on that in a big way. The second map is...
Second map's going to be Terraform.
Okay, so third base is still in a kind of okay position. It's quite open. There's about 3-4 different ways, I guess, and if you count mutas and drops, you can get into either one of those third bases. So 2-base plays come out a bit more. I don't know if Semper's a mech player still, so maybe he plays just another standard bio style. Maybe we see some aggression out of him. There's a lot of options here, but being a 2-player map, I'd say a little bit smaller, Jaedong could also get aggressive if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things about Terraform, though, is you can knock down those rocks near your base, and you double the rush distance for the other player.
Yeah, that's true. There is a way to play a little bit more defensively on this map if you're concerned about being hit by any type of aggression, any type of cheese, all-in sort of thing, and it will slow it down significantly. I guess the biggest question right now is, how many other builds does Semper have? Like I got to give him kudos. He played straight up as hell versus Jaedong. But, it's like you can give the guy props. Jaedong's Jaedong. Jaedong picked a very middle-of-the-road build. 2-base Muta. It doesn't give him any advantages. All it does is allow him to deal with anything that Semper could throw at him. And I don't think that Jaedong has any... Jaedong could try to pick up a quick second map, but if he doesn't go for any type of all-in, I don't think there's any reason for him to do anything other than a very similar build where he can handle any opening that Semper might throw his way.
Yeah, I'm curious if we might see a proxy 2-Rex maybe. Marines, definitely not Reapers on this map.
It'd be ballsy versus Jaedong.
But I mean, you come up against this player, I imagine there are two mindsets. Either I'm going to play straight up and I'm going to play the best I can, or I'm going to try to outwit and outdo my opponent.
That's what game one felt like the former. He showed up. He's like, okay, I'm going to play 3 Reaper, 3 Command Center, double Engineering Bay versus Jaedong, and in a magical world where he has 2 Widow Mines burrowed under those Marines, when Jaedong goes for like that Muta harass, he kills like all those Mutalisks, and then he rallies the next wave forward, and he splits like a god, kills like 8 Banelings, because Jaedong had a pretty pathetic amount of Banelings to defend against that. Then he makes a miracle happen, but those moments are pretty tough to get against players like Jaedong. As you guys can see, this is our schedule for today. As we said, please disregard the times on the right. We are just rolling with these games. Jaedong is playing Semper right now. We did have Masa defeat Bales in the first series. As I said earlier, he will be in Premier League now for Season 3 of the World Championship Series. And we have one more best of 5 tonight following this one. That'll be Stardust versus Neeb.
Protoss versus Protoss. That's going to be an exciting game.
Once upon a time, everyone would have been like, yeah, we get to see another Terran versus Protoss. This is great. Stardust has, I think the only non-Korean player that I've seen him lose to, actually, the only non-Korean Terran I've seen him beat in the last, couple months is actually me in, base trades tournament qualifier, because he's actually lost to, several NA Terran players, and it's only been Terrans that he's lost to, QXC, Drunken Boy, some guy named the General or something that I've never seen before. He just loses to random NA Terrans. And I actually think that if I had a hotline to Neeb, it'd be like, look, man, you really need to just play Terran versus him, because Stardust PvP is quite solid. Stardust beat Huck, of course, to qualify in Season 2. But I guess that we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it, Lycan, as we're loaded into game number 2 here in our second best of 5 of WCS America Challenger. In the top left position, spawning as the Red Zerg player, representing Evil Geniuses, we have Jaedong.
And in the bottom right, we have the Blue Terran playing for Team Gravity. It is Semper.
Yeah, so Terraform, like we talked about earlier, there are so many ways to attack a third base on this map. You have 2 reasonable options, but one of them, that mineral line, is just super exposed to aggression on the other side. It is just so wide open. And, in the top, in that right side where Flo's mouse is right now, you can see there's just so much. You're going to get hit from the top side. There's a path from the outer area towards the center of the map. And then there's a lot of airspace that you could be pushed in with something like Mutalisks as well.
Yeah, this is an exciting map. The Overlord's going across the map. Do you think we're going to see the Reaper play again? It is a very closed-off opening. There's just a small place for the Reapers to go up.
I mean, he's not even building a barracks at the start of the game. He's just going to go Command Center first. I don't think that Reapers are too terrible. There's that little spot you can jump into the main base from, and the map is small. But I think Semper's just telling himself, he's like, okay, I actually just have to go for, if I'm going to play straight up versus Jaedong, I should probably just do the sharpest build I have. A Command Center first will get you wherever you're going, in a lot faster than anything else if you want to play a macro game. So Command Center first, into something like 1 barracks, 3rd Command Center, no gas. Bit brave, but if he wants to play straight up, being super greedy might be the best way to do it.
Now, we did see a gas first coming down for Jaedong, so he's going for a little bit faster gas. Not sure what he thinks he's expecting from Semper, but we do see Semper, like you said, going for that Command Center first, and that does. You skip that Reaper phase, you skip that early scouting and harass phase for that really hyped up, stimmed Terran economy.
He didn't really kill anything with the Reapers anyway, right?
Right.
What did he see? He's like, oh, my opponent opened speed. Well, guess what? Literally every single good Zerg open speed to be safe against some sort of mid-game attack. So that's not surprising. He didn't see anything interesting at all with that scout. Now his SCV is going to come in. He's like, okay, I'll trade the worker scout so that I can see this. Okay, you went gas into pool. If he clicks on that extractor, he knows that Jaedong's going to start a much faster Zergling speed. Should be done around maybe 545. But if you wall off by that point in time, you're generally safe. The only thing he should be concerned about at this point is whether or not Jaedong follows this up and keeps mining gas past 100. If Jaedong were to go for something like Roach Warren or Baneling Nest and try to kill him very quickly.
Yeah, we do see the bunker going down, so he's going to make sure that he is safe against any kind of early aggression. And the follow-up, what do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see mech at this point, or do you think we're going to just go straight bio?
I guess at this point I'm more interested to know whether or not he's going to get a quick third command center or try to take that second gas in the next minute or two. I think playing bio is probably his best bet. If he wants to play straight-up games versus Jaedong, you know, he could be like that guy and just be like, I'm actually just going to go 3-base turtle mech and just try to drag this game out to the point of no return. But Jaedong is still going to be faster than him. He's still going to be better as far as macro goes. And you would proffer he'd win. It would just take him longer. Or maybe Semper doesn't even play that style. Maybe he doesn't even know how to play that style. Not every Terran wants to subject themselves to playing hour-long games. So I imagine we'll see something pretty standard. He's got the third command center. I like that it's part of the wall, though. Like, Jaedong would probably end up scouting it either way with an Overlord or something like that. But he's using it to make sure that if Jaedong tries to get aggressive, he can't do it so easily.
Yeah, he opens pretty safe. He's got the wall off. He does, use the command center, as you say, to take a big chunk of that wall. He is safely protected now behind his little, Sim City. I am curious to see what he's going to go for the follow-up. I want to know if he's going to do some sort of aggression against Jaedong.
Yeah, it's got to be just a build-up for a straight-up game. Like, he's going to go once again into this quick starport. So what he's saying to himself is maybe he's played Jaedong on ladder, and he's seen some of that aggressive play that he can bring. And Jaedong's actually had quite a few resources banked up. He starts his lair and a ton of workers as he looks to just saturate that natural expansion. But it's a pretty similar look to what he did in the first game. It feels a little bit later, but it could still very well once again be quick mutas. Like, he gets the spawn in the Baneling Nest at similar timings to the last map. So just playing it safe is Jaedong. Like, okay. I would love if Semper just built a Viking out of this starport and went double eBay. He might go Banshee again, but I would prefer, yeah, I actually do like this a lot more. Going for this Viking, he's not going to build the Banshee. I don't think the Banshee did anything for him. Trying to play harassment against a player like Jaedong just seems silly.
Yeah, I'm curious. He is going into Hellions. What really are Hellions going to do at this point in the game? It's so late. He's just getting them out. Are they going to really help
I think
with
the map control is always worth it. Just if you want to overwhelm 4 to 6 Hellions, you need to build a pretty big number of Zerglings. So just 4 Hellions. It's not the craziest investment, but it also allows him to scout a bit. He sees, okay, third base is late again, so probably fast lair. Spire is on the way, and he could even just 4GG these Hellions and just try to run them by and see if he can get anything. Even killing these 2 creep tumors is already better harassed than he had last game.
Right, well, there's that overwhelming number of lings. I mean, 26 lings against 4 Hellions with good position. They're going to be fine.
This is scary because he still has the option. He doesn't have evolution chambers. He could still just Baneling bust him, run in, kill his Marines, and then build mutas. He has Jaedong a good number of options. That Viking has gotten to work, though. Has actually shaved off a few Overlords, so temporarily supply blocking Jaedong a little bit. Always nice. But that stim timing is going to come much faster. He's going to have more Marines. And I love that he's already starting to go into the Widowmine production because that's really the key to dealing with someone who likes to throw units at you.
Yeah, it's very smart. He does have the engineering bays just about finished, I believe. They may have finished up. Yep, they're starting to upgrade, so he will be able to get turrets down.
I really like this. I really like this. I feel like everything that I'm thinking is just going straight into Semper's brain. And while that's normally not a good thing, being able to see what Jaedong has, I think it helps a little bit.
Yeah, so those 4 Hellions definitely worth it, getting that scout off. We are seeing the upgrades finishing. Stim just about done. He is going to take, I don't know how I like this, especially, there aren't Zerglings that are going to be able to run into the back of this base, right? But it's still exposed. It's still something that...
I guess it's, if he rallies in front of his natural, he can get to that third base pretty quickly. Yes, his biggest fear will be counterattacks, but taking this third base. So... it's going to be interesting. Like I feel like the deciding moments of the last game were all once Semper had the third base locked down. Like maybe Jaedong won't attack Semper while he's just on 3 bases, but when Semper tries to leave his base, that's when things get weird. Because look at Jaedong once again, a ton of mutas, ton of drones. He's starting up all his upgrades. very few banelings back home. This game is all about the Mutalisks right now for Jaedong, just like it was last game.
Oh, and the Widowmine. Oh, that was not good. A lot of health shaded off those Mutalisks.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about last game, though. Like, if he just has a couple of, just like a mine or two to help anchor these positions, I really, really like it. And then you use the Widowmines to help lock those positions down. Jaedong's Mutas have already done significantly less with their first attack than they did in the last game. And like I said earlier, without a lot of banelings, like this is starting to open up opportunities now if Semper wants to try to get aggressive. And you know, let's think about the key mistake he made last game was the late armory. The armory is going to finish at a reasonable time for the 1-1 here as well. And 1-1 hasn't even started for Jaedong yet.
No, he does have the +1 upgrade on the Mutalisk, but yeah, he doesn't have that for the ground. One thing I also like is he's got those Vikings, right? And in small numbers, when Mutalisks are getting torn up by Marines and Widowmines, those Vikings can do a lot of damage.
These Vikings are already poking away quite a bit, and if the Mutas want to run in to hit them, like look at this, he's actually taking a tremendous amount of damage. He's bleeding out Mutalisks already early on in this game, and even though I think he's only lost like 1 or 2 Mutas, that's still pretty big because Mutalisk compositions are all about snowballing. He's just now started his 1-1. Semper is in a much better spot than he was the last game, but he does need to start thinking about pushing out onto the map. That 4th base is on the way in the bottom left. That 4th should be the #1 focus for Semper right now. Killing that is key. That is the key to victory for Terran in this matchup, and he needs to get the ball rolling because he has that upgrade advantage. This is his moment to make something. He's got his 1-1, he has Medivacs, he has Combat Shield. He needs to make a play right here, right now. How many banelings are on the map is my only question.
Yeah. Now, no banelings. No banelings. 23 morphing right now, but he does have the Hellbats. He does have the Marines.
If he goes to this 4th, if he went to that 4th base right now, he could just cancel it. The banelings are getting close to finishing now. He hasn't actually moved his army out.
He just saw the 4th base, so he is going for it.
Yeah, I don't think he can deny it anymore. It's going to be tricky. You know, this is where Semper really needs to make some sick micro because these banelings are basically they're Jaedong's key here. Jaedong just needs the banelings to kill enough of the Marines that the Mutas can clean house. There are enough Marines in this army to actually clean this up, and I like that he's going to kill off the creep tumors here. That army is positioning itself to defend the 4th, but I want to see more Widowmines. I want to see Semper pushing on this 4th. I feel like if he positions himself well enough, he can, but that baneling count is starting to get just higher and higher.
Yeah, that's a lot of banelings. He was waiting for his missile turrets, I believe, to finish up before he did push out. He didn't want to get distracted by the Mutalisks, but now that they're up, I think that window has kind of closed.
Going for more counter-attack, counter-harass positioning. I love this. This is what I talked about the last game, though. See, he has a Widowmine there with that missile turret. So if Jaedong just tries to dive on top of this, he can really make something of this. Like that Viking baits him around a little bit. The Marine production that'll be coming out of here should be able to do something. And I think the biggest fear is just having that engineering bay attack. So Semper has to deal with these Mutas in his base. I think he should be able to stop them eventually with the forces that he had outside. And now he wants to move in on this 4th. I think Semper just needs to just kill this 4th, get the hell out of Dodge, lift up the Marines into the Medivacs, and just get away. The Marines that are inside of his main base are spawning and slowly working away on these Mutas. He pulled some of the Marines back home to defend. Oh boy.
That is a lot of banelings. He does have Widowmines, and a good hit on the Widowmines. So the banelings could help even this game out, but he's not sending everything. He's not wasting all those banelings on this Bioforce.
Yeah, and I mean, Semper still has a good amount of Marines here, too. He's killed a lot of the banelings. He killed the 4th. Killing the 4th, honestly, that's all that matters, because those Mutalisks did not, you know, they did a good job of trimming down the fat in terms of reinforcements, but Semper is not in the worst position ever. The 4th base restarts. I think Semper right now could start a 4th if he wanted, but his 2-2 is done. So yeah, once again, his upgrade advantage. He could push again if he wanted to, Lycan.
Yeah, he's in a great position. These Widowmines are resetting. He's got a few more coming in. So the economy, the production, the positioning is going to be what's key here. I think Semper is in a great position. Otherwise, it's going to be taking the right engagement and getting those good Widowmine connects and the good splits from the Marines.
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is that creep spread is going to be everywhere else. So Semper needs, he can really only attack down this alleyway, because every other pathway is completely covered with creep. So it's going to be very difficult for him to make any plays, especially taking a 4th base himself. I think as the game progresses forward, and look at these banelings. Jaedong kind of flagrantly throwing these around, but he's getting trades with them.
Yeah, his feckless assault with the banelings, it's just something that, you know, you don't want to let those go. That's a lot of gas. That's a lot of minerals and resources just completely kaput. Semper isn't really open to drop play. Jaedong has a lot of creep spread, a lot of overlord spread.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Semper has also put a lot of supply in his Widowmines that are defending at home, and Jaedong is starting to realize this. Like, he's tried to make some plays poking with these Mutas. There are mines scattered in a pretty good amount of places. Like, these Marines would love to force him southbound towards the mines that are just kind of, you could say, randomly put by that 3rd, and now he's going to break down these rocks. He's going to say, okay, well, let's shut down any counterattack opportunities. But Jaedong, I think Jaedong's realized what's happening. It's like, okay, actually I just need to sit back. Like, I don't think this guy can attack me, and I don't think Semper can. So Jaedong just needs to just chill. expand and just defend.
Yep. Now, we do see Drilling Claws about to finish. That's going to be great for getting those Widow Mines in position as quickly as possible. He also does have Thors. Thors are good for tanking. You know, they force the Zerg to focus. They can't just roll their Banelings in, right? Because then they go and hit the Thors. That's a lot of waste, and the Bio can do great behind it.
Yeah, for Semper to win this game, the key to victory is he needs to get a big engagement with those Mines and Marines spread out and just kill everything. He can't take trades and dance around the map pretty boy style. Like, that's not going to work. It's, you know, a lot of Terran players are good at playing that style where they're just all over the place. Semper can't do that. He hasn't been fast enough to keep up with the creep spread. He hasn't been fast enough to keep up with the mutas and the army. He needs to force Jaedong to fight him in one place at one time and take the perfect engagement. And in my opinion, that's his best chance at being able to win this game. He needs to just win one big engagement and just let it keep rolling from there.
Yeah, I think for the most part, this game has just been that TVZ dance back and forth. No parade pushes, no, trading Lings and Mutas and Marines and all that. It's just been, trying to find that position, each one trying to not hemorrhage too many units. Yeah. And I want to see them take that advantage, because the thing is that Jaedong is getting up to his 5th base, right? So he's going to have that great reinforcement economy. Semper needs to take that clutch engagement.
And all the larva that comes with that as well. Like, these counterattack plays are also just going to make things really annoying, because now if you want to play the long game, now Jaedong's in an opportunity where he can just get right up in your face. And we have here another big push. Cleaned up the Thor, cleaned up a lot of these forces. These Widow Mines detonating on almost nothing. Now starting to get some hits for Semper. But still, there's a massive hit on Banelings. I mean, like, he's starting to get some stuff done here. That was actually really nice.
Yeah, that was really good. A lot of that bio does go down. Oh, 16 SCVs get taken out, especially with Jaedong on that awesome economy. I mean, still, who took the best advantage there?
It's hard to say. I still think that the big problem now is that, as you mentioned, Jaedong has his 5th base. Semper, right now, he needs to plant that command center, build a planetary. His worker count is actually still fine for this position. 51 SCVs with a 4th base is okay, but it's kind of weird to actually say this, but that creep in his 3rd base is actually really nice because it prevents him from building missile turrets.
Yep, and the upgrades are about to finish for Semper. I believe he now has 3/3 bio.
Yeah, if we look at Jaedong's vision, he can actually just see that mineral line. Like, he just knows. He's like, if you leave these SCVs alone, I can shoot these workers with my mutas. So it's a very tense spot to be in. He did a good job of leaving some Marines here to defend that 4th base and let the turrets finish up.
Yeah, so he's good. He's able to establish that. I wish he would have taken that 4th base as his 3rd base, though. That creep now posing a problem, limiting the amount of defense he can leave behind for the mutas.
Yeah, it really, like I said, comes down a lot to the positioning, taking those big fights. Like, those Widow Mines got some cash money hits on the Banelings earlier, and this is a scenario where if you're Semper, you want to focus down the Banelings with those mines, because that one hit, I think, actually prevented the game from ending when he made that push over towards the 3rd.
Yep, and you see a lot of Marauder production now, too, and I like that. I like that a lot.
He's considering the possibility of Hive Tech.
Yep. And those Marauders are going to be great for any kind of Thor play that comes in. I'm sorry, any kind of Ultralisk play.
They also complement the Thor as well, though, because the Thors can deal with the mutas, and the Marauders just soak up lots of hit points. This poor Thor, I don't know what he's doing.
No, he's like, guys, please help. Get me out of here.
It's like, well, you should know. You should have gotten on the bus to come home with the rest of us. I don't know what you were doing all the way over there.
You lag behind, you get left behind.
Yeah, that command center still took some pretty big hits. These mutas have been attacking. Like I said, he has vision. He can literally attack that command center. He can know as soon as the army leaves that it's open. And these Thors, man,
they keep trundling along, wandering out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Semper's Thors need chaperones. They shouldn't be allowed to just walk around by themselves anymore.
No. All right, a couple of Zerglings getting sacrificed for the watch.
Good spread, though. He did a good job of preventing those Banelings from doing much, because they don't even need to kill all the SCVs at that 4th. If they knock down the missile turrets, then the mutas become a big threat. But 3 turrets and a Thor, that's actually more than enough to defend. And right now, Semper just needs to, I think, burrow these mines and just push with the Marauders and just bait back. Just don't let him get on top of your Marines, and you should be okay. Like, this is actually not bad. He trades away some Marauders, mostly for Banelings, but as long as he still has the Thors and Marines, he has enough to deal with, actually, the main army. Now this drop gets into the bottom left side, too.
Yeah, he's able to prevent mining from that. Get a few kills. I don't really think he took out too many, but three drones, that's not bad. And he picked up the forcing anyway, but he's going to lose his Thor. He's going to lose a lot of workers here.
Ooh, yeah, a lot of the SCVs going to get picked off. He's trying to take down this planetary, but, there's still enough forces for Semper to hold on. He's managed to keep his 4th alive. And Jaedong only just now starting that Hive Tech. He can't get 3/3. He can't get Ultralisks yet. He can't get Adrenal Glands. All he can do is build Zerglings and Banelings. And he has a lot of money to do both of those things, but This is gonna, this is one of those things where Semper needs to just keep the ball rolling on his economy. He did lose a good amount of SCVs. He's having a hard time remaxing.
Yeah, let's talk money, right? He's up. He's got 1,300 gas bank, right? But he only has a few minerals. He's down 30 workers to Jaedong.
There's one missile turret here to defend this fourth base. He knocks it down. I think losing this fourth is really bad for Semper. He's gonna have to fly his main command center over here if he wants to keep mining. And yeah, he immediately lifts it off, immediately sends it to go. But I think this is where Jaedong has secured a big advantage. He's just, even though Semper has played a very meticulous Terran versus Zerg, Jaedong has found the weak point. He has exploited it brilliantly, and he's basically said, okay, if you don't want to push to me because I have good creep spread, I will find a soft spot and I will just push it in until I can kill you.
Now, Jaedong is near maxed out, and Semper is at a relatively even army supply, so I think that one solid game from Semper could give him the time to engage and take the right advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Semper's army, though, he's been caught off guard. There's so many Banelings. He just eats the Banelings into a Thor. He doesn't care. He cleans up the rest of those flying units, and I think, how many Banelings is that? That is a disgusting. He's at 71 Banelings. I really don't know where to go from this. There are twice as many Banelings on the map as Marines.
Yeah.
That is, even if he perfectly split every single Marine so that you'd need 2 Banelings to kill each one, he'd still win the fight and have some left over. GG. Jaedong takes game number 2. Oh boy, well that was a much better game from Semper. All things said and done, I think we realized that he couldn't keep up with Jaedong's multitasking and decided to play a very passive bio style. This is the part where we say, when you're looking at passive styles, where you're not going to push out and you're going to sit back. If you want an army that can withstand wave after wave of Zerg forces,
yeah,
sometimes you got to go mech.
Yep. So we're moving on to Bridgehead now, and
now we actually just throw away everything normal that we talked about. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah. So this is Bridgehead, and we still Semper at a massive disadvantage. So let's try to find something to look forward to, and I think that's going to be, will Jaedong be cheeky? Will he Spinecrawler rush those rocks? Because it is extremely hard for Terran to hold off.
Even regular, like the 1/1 roach push that used to be a thing. Like if you push in on those rocks, you have to build the same defenses that you would have needed on any other map, which is like 4 or 5 bunkers if you're just opening with bio.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also need it at your other ramp in case the Zerg pushes there. And there's not a lot of space in your base on Bridgehead to actually produce infrastructure either. I think aggressive play is just insanely good on this map. If Semper has like an all-in-ish type 2 base build, now would be the time to do it. But if Jaedong opens mutas again, then it won't work. So it's very hard to say like what the ideal move is in this scenario.
Yeah, I think he might, from Semper's perspective, he might try the straight up, and he's like, this is it. This is my last chance. This is the game I have to win. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do my best. He has a build prepared. I'm sure he's going to follow that plan.
Yeah. He's played very straight up so far, and I think his adjustments in the second game were all very, very good, especially compared to the first. Got the armory on time, left the Widow Mines randomly behind in each of his bases. I wasn't being 100% serious when I said he should do that, but then he did that, and I think it actually worked really well. He didn't get crushed by the Muta Harass like he did in the first game. There was a little bit of it that was good when he got into the barracks production line, but even then, like his economy was safe, and his economy was very good until Jaedong like really forced the issue on that fourth base. He was just like, I'm going to deny your fourth, and he did a really good job at that, and it's really tough as a Terran because you want to pressure the Zerg, but with that much creep spread, you're only allowed to attack him in the one spot that's free. And Jaedong's like, well, that one spot that's free is very far from your fourth, so good luck.
Yeah. It's Semper, I want to see him do well. I want to see him win. We're getting into the next game, and maybe he'll surprise us.
And it's going to be very interesting. Of course, we're on one of the most interesting maps in the pool. We're on Bridgehead. In the right side, we have the Red Zerg player currently up 2-0 in this best of 5. He is Jaedong.
And on the left, this is the last chance. He needs to win the next 3 games if he wants to get in Premier, and that's not an easy feat when you're playing a player like Jaedong. Give it up for the ladies and gentlemen. It is Team Gravity.
Yeah, Semper has a mountain to climb in front of him, like in...
Yep, a big, big mountain, and at the top is Jaedong.
Yeah, and then he has to climb over him, too. And I don't think Jaedong's just going to let people climb over him normally,
Yeah.
It's not quite a ladder.
I think it's like Mount Everest. It's WCS, right? And Jaedong is the Yeti halfway up that's ready to knock you back down.
I didn't know there was a Yeti on the mountain, but I guess that's kind of what qualifying for Premier feels like. I'd have to imagine.
Fighting a Yeti?
Yeah, well, qualifying for Challenger is hard enough, man. You go there, you have to play, you play versus every sort of crazy player. Like, just to get this far, for someone like Semper, like, you think about the kind of players you run into in an open bracket like that. You're playing against people that are going to do absolutely nuts stuff. You know, you're going to play the hour-long games versus Avalo. You're going to play the games where every single building gets placed outside your base when you play against someone like Ruff. You're going to play Cats who'll build hatcheries in your base. You're going to play against, I don't know, there's like that Print F guy that cannon rushes every game. Like, there's so much crazy stuff for the NA players who qualified for this to get through, and then you still have to play Jaedong at the end of all of it.
Right.
You know, that's... I guess beating all those guys is climbing the mountain, and then now he's here. He's at the threshold where he could reach the top, but Jaedong's standing there.
Yeah. So Jaedong went for hatch before pool. Now he's getting his gas. Semper again. He went for command center first, so he's going for that that bulked up economy for the Terran player.
Yeah, I will say this is a very interesting twist from Semper. He went for a gas before his barracks after the command center first. So he will have what I like to call fastest factory possible off of command center first. This is a very, very, very quick Hellion opening most of the time. It basically allows you to get anything that you would normally get much faster. The reason why it's good on this map in particular is because you can wall off without building a second supply depot. Normally the weakness of this build is that against any early pool, you don't have Marines. But if you have a wall, it doesn't matter if you don't have Marines. No amount of slowlings is going to get through a barracks and a depot if you have SCVs, and last time I checked, everybody starts with SCVs liking.
Absolutely. SCV, good unit, and Semper, so he's in a good position. I want to see, can he take advantage of this game and make something happen?
I think actually going for a really fast Hellion run by would be ideal, or even like a massive Blue Flame Hellion push, because if Jaedong opens mutas again, then just having a high number of Hellions, even 30 seconds earlier, just throws off everything that Jaedong's done in this series so far. Like, how are you going to deal with 30 seconds faster Hellions if you get your Spine Crawler at the same time? If you get your Spire at the same time? If you get your Baneling Nest at the same time? These are all things that will make it very difficult to actually handle that. Like, it's not that, Hellions suddenly become OP, it's just that they come 30 seconds earlier than you were expecting them,
Mm-hmm.
You lay out the table for guests, but dinner's not ready, and they're all sitting down to eat. Like, what do you do, Lycan?
Yeah. So my question is, you have the two entrances to the bases, right? You have the one that's, though, blocked by rocks. Is that something that Terran could take advantage of in the early game?
I think the only move you could try to make, and it actually makes me think about Legacy of the Void more than it does this game, is like tanks. If you made a tank push, it takes a long time to get around from the main or the natural to the other side of those rocks. So you could put a tank there and drop on the other side. I think about it like if you did like the... Maybe you could do one of those tank push builds that they had on Deadwing. Like a Deadwing type build where you put them on the other side and then you drop your Marines in there and just use the Marines to attack the natural and force the Lings to keep running into tank fire. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah. So, I mean, because Jaedong could easily make a wall in here. So an early Hellbat Marine push, I wonder how much it could do with that small wall.
It will certainly be difficult to make work. Like, he's not going to do some sort of two-factory Hellion shenanigans. He's going for the Fast Viking again, and I do like this a lot. I think Fast Viking is... always strong against Zerg just because denying the Overlords forces them to do something a little bit unusual to get mid-game scouting information. Because look at it, like it's going to be a fast Spire again. He's just cutting, he's cutting all sorts of corners, and he's even delayed the Spine Crawler compared to the last few games.
Yeah, the one thing is that from Jaedong we're not seeing any deviation, right? He has gone Spire, Spire, Spire now. And it's worked for him. I mean, but the last game, like you said, there were a lot of places that Semper, showed his ability to improve, and he did it.
Yeah, even though he's gotten late upgrades every game, late third base every game, Jaedong has been able to bounce back and just absolutely wreck face despite all of that, and it's been a really, really nice spot to be in. Like these Hellions, even just being moved a little bit further forward, could have just prevented that third base from being planted down. But, did Semper ever actually get a third orbital? Because he's starting up 3 more barracks.
Nope, he's going for some aggression.
This is it. We are going to see whatever the sharpest build that Semper has for aggressive play. Whoa, he starts 2
plus
base.
1/1 attack in defense.
Does Semper realize he didn't build a third command center? Because this is highly unusual otherwise.
I hope it's a plan. Jaedong intentionally hid his Spire. He between the 2 bases where someone would normally scan, he dropped creep and dropped that. But it is going to get scouted now with this drop. He's looking to do a little damage. 2 Widow Mines, 4 Marines.
Yeah, I mean, the Widowmine's going to try to make big plays on these drones. This is a bit different than he did last game. Does he target? Oh, 8 drones. Not bad. 10 drones killed so far, and that's actually pretty good. I mean, he's going to build an overseer. The hell, he's running the main base at the same time. He actually gets another 5 drones. Oh, my goodness, Lycan.
This is incredible for Semper. 18 drones going down. They're just lining up. 23.
Oh my god, 27 drones of Jaedong get absolutely roasted. He's 20 drones to 46 SCVs, and he just spent all of his larva on Lings.
Who needs a third command center when you can get plays like that?
I mean, I still think it's a bit ballsy that he went for the 2 E-bays, but I can see turrets being useful in this position before a big bio push. There, I don't think there's a Baneling nest either.
No, 5 turrets are going down. There are only, 2 more Mutalisks on the way. There isn't enough. Now, these Lings are going to get into the base, but there's more than enough
Actually,
to clean that up.
I think close the depot once the Lings get in, and then you get to kill them for free.
Yeah.
But, like, this is, right now, I guess I would say this is the ideal opportunity for Semper to try to push out, because those drones, he's only just now rebuilding the drones, because he spent all his larva on Lings when the Hellions hit his base.
Yeah, I think Jaedong's taking a little bit of a gamble building more drones. He does have the Baneling nest just coming down. This is a perfect timing for Semper to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think this is Semper's moment. Like, I think he should have tried to unload these forces before the Mutas got here.
Oh, he's going to lose a tank. Oh, that is not good.
Yeah,
he's going to lose another full medevac.
I think Semper was going to... Oh, goodness. Well, a lot of the power in that push just went bye-bye. I think he should have just moved out without loading into the medevacs, honestly.
Yeah,
now I'm really worried again.
Yeah, he could have moved, right into that Ling force. He could have done a lot of damage. This Mutalisk couldn't have done too much after a stim.
Yeah, that he actually just had a really big chance to take this game with a big push right there, and that's that's not even like I'm being just straight up honest. Like, that was a really big moment, but now that he's been pushed back into his base like that, this really hurts. And like, there's that stim. He's not going to kill anything with it. Semper's got to be. He's got to be hurting right now. Like, he wants to start a command center and a turret, but building a command center out in the open like this on a map with this many angles to attack? Like,
nope, he's going to have to sit here and babysit it from the Mutalisks.
Yeah, he can't push. That's a really... that's really upsetting.
Going for a bunker on the high ground.
Yeah, Semper has been effectively shut down this game now, basically just by those Mutas grabbing those 2 medevacs when he was... I'm going to say it, when he was getting ready to go win the game. And this is not a fun spot to be in. No combat shield on the way. He does have the 1-1 coming in. I don't believe there's an armory. He's just now starting it. It's going to be, the armory is a little bit late, maybe about 20, 30 seconds late. No evolution chambers are on the map for Jaedong. They're about to finish. So without any upgrades on the way for him, like, Semper has an upgrade advantage, but he has to babysit that command center, just like you said. He can't actually move out on the map. Otherwise, you just kill that 1 SCV, and then your third base is no longer being built.
Yeah, so hopefully that once this base gets established, you can put Widowmines down maybe to help support the turret, and he can move out and do a little bit more damage and kind of regain that lead that he already took.
Yeah, Semper does want to put a bunker on the high ground. This is an interesting position. I guess he just wants to have vision there, just in case like any Banelings get morphed in on the high ground. But the other things you have to keep in mind is that Jaedong, he's also spreading that creep again, and that was like so important in the last game. It's the whole reason why Semper couldn't do anything.
Now, Jaedong has just finally caught up. He's actually surpassed Semper in the worker count, but this time that he's been spent making those extra units, I mean, does Semper still have somewhat of an army advantage?
I think there's a reason why 2-base Terran plays generally frowned upon, and I would still argue that Semper could have been in a much better position if he was able to counterattack and prevent Jaedong from just building pure drones. But he does have an opportunity here. I mean, Jaedong once again went for a lot of Mutas, right? There's not really many Banelings on the map. In fact, I'm not sure if there are any Banelings on the map, and there are none. There's no Baneling speed. So right now it just comes down to, is Semper going to continue to get baited back and forced into stay inside of his base all game, or will he have an opportunity to move out? Because right now, if his army was at Jaedong's base, Jaedong would have nothing to do.
Nope, not at all. He does have that little wall that he's trying to defend. That's a lot of supply that could get taken out by those Mutas.
And the 1-1 only just started for Jaedong. Like, he actually didn't start it when his evolution chambers finished up. So I would still proffer that if Semper's army was just there at Jaedong's base, if he could get there without Jaedong, being aware, or if Jaedong just slipped up a little bit, focusing on this Muta micro, I think Semper could actually deal critical damage. He still hasn't made a single Baneling. Like, this has just been absurdly greedy play from Jaedong.
Yeah, I don't want to see him load up. I want to see him march across the base. I want to see him plant those Widowmines, take great engagements, and possibly take his first game of the series.
Yeah, I think this drop needs to deny the 4th base while he goes for a big push on the south side. But like right now, Jaedong's starting to realize, he's thinking, okay, well, all I really need to do is defend my 4th, and if Semper doesn't push me on my rocks, then I'm okay with that. So this big drop could work. He's going to move in. There's nothing here to really defend against this, and there's still... I still think there's not really, like... Are there still no Banelings?
Nope, no Banelings, and he could stop these upgrades from coming. The Mutalisks are going to come back, but against these Widowmines and these Marines...
Oh, yeah, killing these Evolution Chambers would be so huge. If he was 2-2 against no upgrades while denying the 4th base, that'd be massive, but Jaedong is overwhelming with a crazy number of Lings, and I'd still say, look, no Banelings. These Marines are able to trade out very cost-effectively. It'll hurt to lose the Medivacs, but at the same time, you know, just focus, kill the 4th base, and you're still happy. I would have liked to see him get those Evolution Chambers than any damage on the hatch in the natural, but still, Semper actually made something there of that, and he got a good couple drone kills. In fact, could get a few more.
Oh,
Nice!
8. And a Queen.
Yeah, so Semper actually still making something happen in this game. Like, okay, he didn't deny the Evolution Chambers. That's not the worst thing in the world, because he's still at 2-2 against 1-1. As only +2 melee has just started for Jaedong. So what Semper needs to do, bolster his forces, get another army, and push out again. Like, Baneling speed is done, but I still don't think there are actually any Banelings on the map.
No, and they're a great upgrade advantage. He's up 1 upgrades. Yeah, Jaedong's 1-1 was able to finish, but he still has an entire upgrade time worth to stay ahead. So I'm looking forward to seeing Semper push out on the map again. He's trying a single drop. There is a lot of Overlord spread. Hopefully it doesn't go too far south to where those Overlords are sitting.
And this has been a really good... I hope he doesn't go where those Overlords... It's like, which Overlords? It's like all of the Overlords.
One Overlord.
There's actually, he's like, all of his Overlords are over there. +3 attack starts up for Semper. And he has his 4th base on the way. This drop should be shut down. I mean, if you're Jaedong and someone flies by 20 Overlords and you don't notice, you've messed up.
Yeah, that's retirement moment right there.
It's like, well, I had 20 Overlords. I didn't see it coming. I have no excuse for this.
That's a lot of Marines.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep in mind, there's still, like, how many Banelings are there? There's 4 on the way. Does he actually have any Banelings pre-made before this, or has he just been pumping out Mutas? Okay, he has some Banelings. But even 16 is manageable by this army. 16 is not a lot.
Absolutely. That's a few Widowmine hits and some good spreads.
And I love that he left that tank at home. You know, tanks are just really, they're just not, like, I honestly think tanks are just, like, in this matchup right now, in Heart of the Swarm, they're just kind of bad. Like, leaving them at home, they're able to do so much more because, you know, it's just so easy for the Zerg to abuse their position. You know, if they're at home, though, you shut down so much counter-harass options for the Zerg.
Yeah, you have that static events to compensate for the immobility of the tank.
Yeah, exactly. Leaving them at home makes them a lot more useful than actually keeping them in your army. And I think, like, in this point, you just, like, leave one mine, like, slowly spread them out a bit, because he does like to do this thing where he burrows all of his mines at once, and it causes them to be really clumped up. So, like, 3 Banelings end up killing, like, a couple, like, you know, 4 or 5 Widow mines, and that, I don't know. Seems a bit unnecessary at times.
Yeah, he's trying for the drop again, but again, that Overlord spread is doing great things.
And he puts Marines. He puts a lot of Marines in all these bases. Like, these Mutas come up and deny these Marines, but he actually already lost a few Mutas to actually make that happen. And now he wants to, like, run in here, but there's a missile turret and this bunker of Marines. It's going to kill quite a few of these Mutas. He's got a Widow Mine over there. He's actually starting to zone these Mutalisks out, and he bleeds out quite a few of the Mutalisks. At the same time, this drop hits the top right side. There is a good number of Lings and some Banelings to deal with it, though.
Yeah, they're not really getting anything done. Loses 2 Marines, not too terrible.
Yeah, he's forcing a little bit of extra multitask on the part of Jaedong, though, and we have to keep in mind that once this base gets planted, we have a 4-base Terran against a 4-base Zerg. Semper can be a happy boy. And now with that 5th base being taken closer to the center for Jaedong, Semper, he has his sight set. This is the next focus for him. He did a decent job of clearing out the creep. He's in a position where he could actually knock this down or push into the natural if he really wants to.
Yeah, I think pushing the natural is a good idea with the Widow Mines on the back end.
And this mine spread is so much better, by the way, than it was previously. A good number of the mines are baited out, but so counter Banelings, lots of them.
Wow.
I actually really like that he canceled the planetary and lifted off because he could have lost the command center there. The SCVs are not that bad of a loss.
No, and he's running pretty well. He lost 19. That is a lot, but here he is taking an engagement. If those Banelings get a good hit, that's not going to be great for him. He's going to lose Thors too.
I mean, the Thors are actually getting a crazy number of hits on the Mutalisks. One more is going to clean up quite a few of them. This army does get swept up. I think if he had been able just to pull the Marines away, he could have gotten a lot more work done, but the Marines in the top right from this drop are actually still doing a little bit. Clearing out some drones. This is actually really nice because he did lose quite a few SCVs, and his economy has been hindered significantly. Even though that planetary fortress wasn't killed, I don't think he's still mining too healthily off of it just yet.
No, not yet. It's going kind of blow for blow. He lost 19 SCVs, but he can make up for that with mules. He turned around and did 11 drones damage.
And he has the 3 orbitals that he can build SCVs off of. You know, it's not like Jaedong, where when Jaedong has to build drones, he loses the potential to build lings. You know, there's no larva trade-off for Terran.
Right, exactly. So we see, I'm liking the blow for blow, though. I'm liking the exchange. We're not seeing a one-sided game this time. We're seeing pretty great plays from both players. And there are a lot of banelings now, a lot of lings.
Yeah, I think Jaedong's getting ready to just crash into this base. He realizes that Semper is actually spreading his forces out so well that it makes any one of his bases a lot easier to attack into. And all of Semper's army is at his third. So if Jaedong sees a vulnerability on this fourth base, you know, he could just knock this down and then run back and then just build a bunch of banelings behind it. Because now Jaedong has his hive. He's going for 3-3, going for adrenal glands. He's going to clean up this drop. And now everything that Semper has is back at his fourth. That's it. It's all he's got. And yeah. Jaedong can just comfortably sit back and be like, okay, well, I'm maxed. You're probably not. And we know Semper isn't. So life is pretty hard right now for our American Terran.
Yeah, he loads up another drop, but that is probably going to get shut down before it ever gets the chance to do anything. There's a lot of Jaedong's army down at the south.
Yeah. That one drop against that, no.
Nope.
I mean, if those two mines spread out perfectly and only hit banelings, you know.
I don't believe any amount of caster hype or hope is going to save Semper in that situation.
Unfortunately not.
No, but we do see Semper, you know, he's trying to keep tabs on Jaedong's army, using a lot of scans, you know, clearing creep, keeping an idea where the Mutalisk flock is, where that mass of banelings and Zergling is. He does try to get in there, gets a hit, 7 drones, not bad.
Yeah, that mine shot actually wasn't bad at all. I think that almost makes the drop worth it entirely because he pulls the army back too, so Semper has now been given a lot of time to mine off of that third base. And look at that, even a free pot shot at these Mutalisks. You know, it's 4 base versus 5 now. And it's starting to become manageable for Semper again. I'd like to see him repair these medevacs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a lot of, you know, one little, you know, proper micro from the Zerg player could take out those medevacs, and that's, you know, that's a lot of healing taken down. Those medevacs have almost half energy.
Yeah, it's a very big deal in a scenario like this when you do have a Terran that has so few resources. He can't replace much of what he has. And oh boy, another big wave of banelings want to knock this planetary down. He needs to focus the banelings. Oh, he's just distracted by the lings. And the sandwich on the planetary. Okay, he actually went for SCVs and didn't really get much. That's actually quite nice.
Takes that. Oh, he does get a few more. So he got 7, but he saved his base.
That could have been a lot worse for Semper. I think if he blew up on all the SCVs, then he's in a position to actually knock that base down. But now the mutas are coming in here. He's like, well, I pulled your army all the way over there. He's opened up the rocks so lings can spill into the natural if he wants. He's like, yeah, kill some missile turrets. There is even one ling in there that's just going to town.
Yep, Semper's going to lose his upgrade advantage. The +3 attack on the Mutalisk is about to finish. +3 attack on the ground as well.
Yeah, this is where Zerg becomes really scary. You're so used to being ahead of the Zerg pretty much forever in Terran versus Zerg when you have that upgrade lead. You know, most of the time the Zerg has such a hard time reaching high if it's not a factor. But in this game, Semper is just, you know, he's losing every advantage that he's had. He's still maxed out on supply. He just needs, but the dream engagement hasn't popped up for him just yet.
Nope, and if he goes into Ultralisk, I mean, there aren't a lot of Marauders on the field, and this is going to be a bad day for the Terran bio.
Yeah, so far the middle mine shot's been good, but that supply, as close as it is, we have a lot of stim
there's a
Marines.
big Widow Mine. Oh, and it gets killed by the Banelings.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough spot to be in. Now Semper's army just gets completely cleaned up. I mean, he fights on creep. He didn't scan to kill the tumors, so Jaedong had full vision of his army. He knew exactly how to position himself to get in and deal maximum damage. And Semper never really recovered from all those hits onto his fourth base either. He just doesn't have any resources now. He doesn't have enough Marines to actually take this anymore.
Nope, huge army deficit, half the supply of Jaedong's army. This is not a great position to be in as a Terran. There's really no position for him to take a great engagement. These Banelings are going to roll in, just crash all over the bio.
Marines are good, but there's more Banelings than Marines right now, Lycan, and Jaedong wants to win game number 3. He's going to Premier League at the World Championship Series. Good game is called a 3-0 for the Evil Geniuses Zerg. He's going back to Premier once again.
Yeah, I'd say back where he belongs. I mean, but let's talk about Semper real quick. The guy played well in a lot of ways. He did.
Yeah, he put up a fight. You put up a fight versus Jaedong. You say first game, okay, was kind of just like done and dusted, But you look at the second game, put up a much better fight. We actually had a game there, guys. It was actually quite well played by Semper, but Jaedong forced and found the soft spot on the fourth base. And you say, well, you got a fourth base against Jaedong. Clearly you're not scrubbed here. And then that last game was really as back as forth as it was going to get for a TVZ between these two guys on a map like Bridgehead especially.
I think the best part is you see a lot of players that come into a series and they might have a decent game, kind of like the last one we saw, and then it goes downhill from there. They take a loss, they take it personally, and they just, go down. But this guy, Semper, saw mistakes made. He fixed them. In each game, he improved compared to the last.
Yeah, and that's a mark of a very good player. I have high hopes for him and hope to see him continue to compete as we get into next year. But that will be it for him in this series, in this Season 3 for the World Championship Series. We do have Jaedong going to Premier. He will join Masa today. So far, we have one more best of 5 to bring you guys. It is going to be Neeb versus Stardust in a Protoss versus Protoss. You're watching the World Championship Series America Challenger. We'll be right back after this short break.